So, Dr. J, can you share a bit about what somatic pain is and what the cause is, and how would someone know if that's what they have?
That last question is the trickiest, I think. But the best way that I can describe somatic pain is issues in the tissues. Essentially, somatic pain is generally trauma or emotions showing up in the body. So in these situations, there is generally an emotional cause to the pain, but it is definitely also physical, again, through the nervous system as the bridge, and through the sort of habituation of maybe body posturing or various ways that the ways we store stress in our body or hold our bodies in certain postures that can cause, again, mechanical sort of clamping down or impingement. So it's not that it's only in your head, but that's where it generally starts. So there's generally some sort of trauma history of whatever kind. And again, that could be physical trauma. It could be mental, emotional trauma, any trauma. But it could even be sort of thinking about just getting in a motor vehicle accident, a car accident. If you were really braced in a certain position when you got hit because you saw it coming, well, the body can get caught in that same sort of, anytime you see a car, your body can kind of go into that same posturing, and it can cause chronic pain because certain muscles will clamp down, it will impinge nerves, et cetera. So there's kind of this habituation of again, I keep going back to body posturing. I would say if this lands for somebody, if they're listening to this and they're like, oh my God, I think that's me, then you probably have somatic pain. Most of us do. Most of us have some sort of, we know that when we're stressed, we hold tension in certain areas of our body. That's generally normal. But when it becomes this really chronic issue, I see a lot of patients with a lot of chronic pelvic pain, and maybe that's just because they have hypermobility and their ligaments are too loose and that's causing pain. But very frequently there's a sexual trauma history in those patients, and their chronic pelvic pain is, again, those muscles, those ligaments, everything's tightened up against that trauma. And it can't relax. And so that's just one example of somatic pain. I also would kind of put a pin in fibromyalgia as a red flag for somatic pain. I'm not saying that all fibromyalgia is caused by somatic pain or by trauma, because it's not. It can certainly be secondary to a myriad of different autoimmune issues or mitochondrial issues or other more complex problems. But if somebody has gone down this whole rabbit hole of diagnostics and nothing has come up, and they're just told, oh, you have fibromyalgia, and they have a very significant trauma history, either in childhood or later, I would say, again, put a pin in there. It's not the only cause, but it certainly can be a sign that there's somatic pain or emotionally stored issues in the tissues.
Yeah. So so related to trauma and posturing. I know for me, for instance, I had trauma in my pelvis from childbirth that caused that. It's like the muscle spasm, and then they hold like that. And then I also hold stress or emotional energy in my hips, which I feel like a lot of people do, and shoulders.